welcome back to another Beautifully You interview. This time I am with Jessica Miller. So to start us off, Jessica, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
My name is Jessica Miller. I am in my final year or final semester of graduate school at UALR's social work program. So I will be a licensed master's in social work. That will be my certification in just a few short months. And that's all because of my time competing in the Miss Arkansas organization and achieving scholarships so that I could graduate debt free. So all that I am right now is school. So I'm just trying to get through that right now.
That's awesome. Um, First question, my social impact initiative is Beautifully You. So what does Beautifully You mean to you?
To me, it's standing firm in who you are. I think so often nowadays we try to kind of mesh in with what is popular and what other people are doing. And while it's good to have people to look up to, standing firm in your own values and setting those boundaries is extremely important because there is only one you. There's experiences that we've all endured when we were a child, the environment that we grew up in that has inevitably shaped the people that we grow into. And there is so much beauty in that, whether it was, you know, they're all strengthening experiences and they teach us a lot about ourselves and our place in the world. So being beautifully you is just standing firm in your values and your experiences and not being ashamed of them, but being proud of them.
Yes, one thing that the Miss Arkansas organization has taught me is that being myself is what really matters. I can't be anybody else because that's not going to
Right.
get you anywhere in life. So, yeah. So how are you being yourself every day?
One thing that I learned in my time in undergraduate studies and now my graduate degree program is you can't pour from an empty cup. And that really emphasized in me the importance of self-care. We talk about it a lot in supervision. I've led a lot of groups on it in my internship experience. Self-care is extremely important in taking care of yourself because if you don't love yourself, you're not able to love anybody else. So just making sure that you and yourself only is your first priority. Because if you're not there for yourself, how can you be there for anybody else?
It's very true. So,
And self-care looks different on everyone, so it can be different things. You just kind of have to find out what works for you.
yes, for me, sometimes it's just taking a shower. How can you encourage others to be their best self?
Again, just being proud of the experiences that you've had. I had a pretty interesting childhood, and it's not one that I share a whole lot, but it had to do with having a biological parent that had a severe mental health struggle that I was exposed to. And because of that, it has kind of led me into, my development of the platform that I held when I was in the Miss Arkansas organization about mental health and suicide prevention. And because of that, that kind of led me into where I am today, which is getting my degree in social work. So those experiences, I use them as an inspiration instead of a deterrent.
Could you tell us a little bit more about your social that you had in the Miss Arkansas organization?
Absolutely. So it was called SAVE, and it stood for Suicide Awareness Voices of Education. And I started it when I was about 15 years old. My family and I, we experienced a tragedy within our family. It was my stepbrother's father. Their dad died by suicide in early of 2013. And so since then, my family and I, we just got heavily involved in the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention to search for more understanding and how we could be there for the boys and for my stepmom as well. And in doing that, I learned that I had such a huge love for mental health. And while I wish that experience wouldn't have happened and wouldn't have affected my family, I really don't think that I would have ever found the love that I have for social work in the mental health field in general. So I spent my time just advocating on for survivors of suicide loss, just different volunteers that were interested in assisting in AFSP and their campus and community walks, and just loved doing it. And the more that I was in the school system and different community groups, I just found that I loved talking about mental health. And I was able to talk to so many people that competed in the Miss Arkansas organization and found that suicide and mental health had heavily influenced or impacted them as well. And so it really was great to be able to be a spokesperson for them and to them and just showing that support because not everybody has that experience. But for those that do have, unfortunately, have that experience, we all have to stick together and support one another because that's how we're going to get through.
I love that. Suicide is close to my heart. Suicide's definitely impacted my life. So I've learned a lot more about mental health issues and a lot of that stuff recently, and it's helped me make a difference in my community.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you be there for someone who's struggling with their mental health?
Absolutely. You definitely want to make sure that they're in a safe environment. Um, and that could be if they're having suicidal ideation, there is a crisis plan that and a safety plan that needs to be in place to be able to better assist that person and help them to safety. But somebody that's just struggling with their mental health and just be there for them, normalize what they're feeling, and validate those emotions and experiences. Not to don't try to give them advice or say, "Oh, my day was worse." Stick there with them and just tell them that everything's going to be okay, but I totally understand how and why you would feel that way, because that people don't realize how much that support means to that person that's struggling with their mental health, and in turn that can help them to seek therapy services or go to a psychiatrist, just different things like that. Just be a supporter, be there, be an advocate for them.
How can you help get help for their mental health?
Absolutely. So I am currently interning at the counseling clinic in Benton. I'm on the day treatment side. But they also have the Division of Youth Services and they also have outpatients. So if somebody is wanting to seek therapy services, the outpatient clinic at the counseling clinic, they do intakes, and then they also will set you up with a therapist that is specialized in your needs. But there are so many different clinics around the state of Arkansas, especially in Central Arkansas, that are available to do those intake sessions to be able to pair you with somebody that specializes in really what you need help for. So therapy is really important. Finding a support system is extremely important because, again, I wouldn't have been able to do and be all that I am without the support of the Miss Arkansas organization and my AFSP family. So, and it's okay to seek help.
Yes, I feel like a way to break the stigma is by sharing the importance of getting help. So
Absolutely,
we need
absolutely. Well, and go ahead.
we need more places around here that would be able to for people to go into and say that they need this and that's what they get in return is a way for them to help with their mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. And just another way to help with that stigma is doing like how you are. And what I did whenever I was competing is just sharing your story because, whenever you talk to a certain group of people, even if one person in the room is like, wow, I thought that I went through this alone, you could change their entire life because for the first time they felt like they weren't alone because not many people are willing to stand up and talk about mental health struggles and suicide ideation. So it's really important what you're doing, and I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining me today. I will see you all in our next Beautiful You interview. Thank you. Bye.